How's it going, guys? Odds and Ends RC here. Please like and subscribe. If you've been following me on previous videos, I've been putting this China two-door JK body. I've been fitting it to a SCX10 II chassis. I am nearing completion on it, so I thought I'd make a video on it. If you want to figure out how to fit the body to the frame, watch my previous videos. But on this video, I'm just kind of gonna go over my finishing touches and a few things I did and gonna do, and probably be the last video on it. But as you can see, I've got it painted. I went with this Tamiya TS92 metallic orange. I love the color, but I didn't know it at the time when I first started painting. It's kind of a translucent color. You kind of see through it. So it ended up taking 3 cans of paint to paint this body, almost $30. So if I had to do it over again, I would definitely pick a different color. Moving to the front of the Jeep here, I did install full LEDs all the way around. LED headlights and parking lights and tail lights, and turned out pretty good. One thing you should do when you get these bodies is these little parking light lenses for some reason come red. I don't know why. Maybe in China they're red, no clue. But I took them out and soaked them in rubbing alcohol for a couple minutes, and all the red paint comes off. And then I just painted them with the painted the outside with the Tamiya clear orange lens paint. Give it a couple coats, and turned out pretty good. Now on the headlights, the inside of the buckets where the bulb goes, they come black, and when you put a light in it, it doesn't look very good, because you look into the lens and you see black behind it. So what I do usually on these bodies is get you one of these liquid chrome pins. I think this one's got a 2mm tip, and paint the inside of that lens, or not the lens, but the bucket, paint it chrome, and let it dry for a couple days, because I learned the hard way in the past. But if you touch this chrome paint too soon, it leaves fingerprints in it and dulls it down, and it don't look right. Just kind of leave it set for a day and a half or so, and just don't even look at it. And then after that, it should be set up good enough to put it back together. You can kind of see in there, instead of looking black, it just has more of a chrome factory look to it. Also, while we're up here, I got an RC 4-wheel drive 9.5 winch. Pretty happy with the way it looks. I just mounted it to the top of this factory bumper. I didn't mount it to the chassis. I wanted it on this bumper so I can still take the body on and off real easy. It's got 4 bolts bolted all the way through the bumper. This bumper bolts on very securely, so it's not going to pull itself off. It's not going to go anywhere. Excuse me. So pretty happy with that. Still waiting on the winch controller. It hasn't made its way here yet since the virus crap. Everything's been taking longer to get here, and everything's been harder to find. But once it comes in, I'll probably install it on the chassis. Moving on here, I painted the fenders here. I just went ahead and painted them low gloss black to match the bumpers. I had it all orange at first, but I think it just has a more rugged look, with the black fenders. Probably later on in life they'll get trimmed down, but for now I'm just going to leave them black. I did get the stickers on there. Just found a generic cheap sticker kit off of eBay, and put them on there. Moving on to the back of the Jeep here. As you can see, I also painted the taillights all the way red. When you get these new, half of the lens is red and half of the bottom half of the lens is clear, and when you put a bulb in it, it looks goofy. So I just took the well, first of all, I also soaked these in the rubbing alcohol, got the red paint off of them, and then I painted the whole lens, gave it a couple coats of the Tamiya clear red, and turned out pretty good. Looks a lot better than what it did when it was new. I got me a spare tire and wheel on here. I just used some stuff laying around. I tried forever to find one of these 5-lug spare wheels, 155, and usually you can find a spare on eBay or on RC 4 Drive's website, but I could not find one of these for the life of me. I did not want to order a whole set just to get one spare, so I had a white 6-lug wagon wheel laying around, 155. So I took the chrome paint pen and just went ahead and painted the whole wheel. Was careful not to finger bang it too soon so I wouldn't leave fingerprints in it. Gave it a couple days to dry, and put this groundhog tire on there I had laying around. It's different than the rest, but it's the same size. I think they're like a 96 millimeter or something like that. But I didn't want to buy, an extra tire when I had this laying around. But put it on there. At first glance, it looks pretty good. That chrome paint's got a pretty good shine to it. So, just first glance, you don't really notice that it's a 6-lug and that it's a little different design. As you can see, these tires kind of stick out pretty far. I want to get them in a little further. I think it'd look a little better, a little more scale. I'll try to get some skinnier hubs if I can find them, to where to move the wheels in, I don't know, 1/4 inch or less, 3/16 maybe. And once I get them moved in, I got these Racing brake rotors I'm going to put in there. It'll look pretty good shining through the wheel. But about the only other thing I'm going to do on the rear end of it is probably paint these hinges black. They were originally black before I painted the body yellow, but I do that and call it good on the back of this thing. There was it was like a license plate thing that went back here that hung down probably, I don't know, more than 1/4 inch or more. And I just went ahead and trimmed that off because it's going to get hung on everything. Other than that, pretty much done with the back. As you can see up here, I went with the SSD Pro 44 front axle. It's got the offset front pumpkin on it. That helped me out in lining up with that SSD transmission. It just put the drive shaft over to one side where it doesn't get in the way of the transmission or the link or anything like that. Worked out perfect. And I went ahead and went with 90mm King shocks on the front. That puts the tire almost up into the wheel well. It's got plenty of travel on it. Got the Panhard Bar almost to the perfect length. I have no bump steer. I have good articulation. Nothing binds. Everything works as it should. Very happy with that. Took a lot of whittling, a lot of just tedious in and out to get the right length. Because if you don't have the right length bar, you'll end up with bump steer where the tires turn when the suspension goes down. So you just gotta, depending on how high your shocks are, it's a different length for a taller shock. It's a different length for a shorter shock. You just gotta kind of play with it until you get it right. Got my servo tucked up in there pretty good. Had to put a little spacer to kind of drop it down a little bit there to get the right angle on the steering rod. But other than that, I did cut off this skid plate thing up there. It kind of looked goofy, and it would kind of get hung on stuff when you're coming up your approach angle. So I just went ahead and cut the whole thing off. I think it looks better without it. But as far as everything goes up here, I'm pretty much done with it. Oh, I did go with 10% overdrive gears in the front. It makes it climb a lot better, and it makes it turn a lot sharper. These axles have probably a 50-degree turning radius, and paired up with that overdrive gear, this thing turns a real tight circle. Real happy with it. Moving on to the bottom. I went with 70mm shocks in the rear. That's about all I had room for, and it still gives me plenty of travel. More than enough for a scale rig. Back here I got me a little battery cover. My battery goes underneath this cover. And so I just made this little tray and to put over it to where it hides it, which I can take it in and out, and I can remove the battery even when the body is on there. So it turned out pretty good. Also went with the Pro 44 axle in the rear, kind of to match the front. Went with these RC 4-wheel drive scale drive shafts, and they're just perfect. I mean, they're just small, steel, strong. Most of the other manufacturers' drive shafts are just real big and fat and bulky, and these things actually have a small size and scale look to them. Real happy with that. Glued me some pieces of styrene on this bottom here. When you get these bodies new, there's indentions where the bottoms of the seat are, and it kind of looks kind of goofy. It's on both sides. And then there's a circle in the middle in there. So I just cut out pieces of styrene. Just kept whittling them down until I got them to fit pretty good, and then I just glued them in there. It kind of makes the bottom look a little more realistic. Just, you know, kind of hides all that ugliness that was there. The only wires that you can see on the bottom of this thing is where the wires for the battery comes out. It kind of runs under and then goes up to the ESC. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. I'd like to hide them, but on the other hand, it's really easy to unplug. I can just stick my finger in there, push it out, unplug it in a couple seconds. So I don't know, I might paint it black just where it just doesn't show up as much and it's still handy. Don't know what to do on that. If you guys got any ideas, let me know. I've seen in previous videos I went with this SSD scale transmission. I was real happy with that. Went together real easy, works great, and that's what allows me to put this body on here and get it down low without cutting into the interior. I went with the Crawlmaster, I think Holmes Hobbies Crawlmaster Sport motor, and it's a 20-turn motor. I was worried about it being too fast, and it's actually perfect because these are 5-pole motors. So a 20-turn 5-pole motor is about the same speed as like a 35-turn axial motor, 3-pole motor. So that motor paired on this transmission is just the perfect speed. Nice, slow, crawling speed. And then top end is kind of a fast-paced walk. And just perfect speed. That's where I like to have it at. Tucked up in here, you can probably barely see it, is I got the Hobby Wing Quick Run 1080 ESC. I use these in quite a bit of my projects because they're small and they're programmable and they just work great. I got it double-sided taped to my steering servo, and there's plenty of room up there for it. The only thing I don't like about them is you get this extra button, on-off button I'd rather just not even have an on-off button, but I guess it needs it to program it. But other than that, yeah, it tucked up in there nicely. Stays out of the way. Other than that, that's about all I got to show on the bottom. Here's that battery tray I was talking about. It was actually, I think, a first-gen axial receiver box, and I just kind of trimmed it down and, I don't know, just glued it to a piece of, or screwed it to a piece of styrene. Kind of made it look like a gas tank, just something that would hide the battery. And pop it out. You can see that's where I got my battery hidden. I got it velcroed in there. It's a 2200 megahertz 3-cell battery, or I'm sorry, milliamp hour 3-cell battery, and it fits in there perfect. I can take it in and out without taking the body off, so I'm pretty happy with that. To take this body off, I have 2 screws sticking down on either side, or one on each side, from the body itself, and the frame rails kind of snap down underneath these screws. So to release this body, I stick my finger in here and kind of pull it out on the frame rail and pull up. You can see it releases it. That way it just comes right off. No screws, no clips, no nothing like that. And then I only have one wire for the lights. I unplug that, and it's free. You can see on the bottom of here, I just flat blacked everything just to kind of hide everything and blend everything in so you don't see it. The back of the lights, I painted them all up so no light shines through the back. Same with the tail lights, no light shines through. Battery just comes out just like that, nothing to it. I just screwed me a piece of Velcro here to wrap around the battery. This kind of a shot of the top. Shows you the transmission and the drive shafts. And then all my electronics, I just got mounted to the chassis itself. That way it makes it a lot easier to take the body off. You got your servo. I got my ESC. Got the on-off switch next to it. And then I got my receiver tucked down here on the side where you can't hardly see it. But yeah, it's just clean setup. Simple but clean. Works great. I really don't think I'd change much on it. You can see these shock towers I made in the back. There's just enough room up in the body. There's like a indentation for the rear seat and the body. And these towers and shocks fit up in that indentation. I think these were the STRC shock towers, if I remember right. These were some wheel liners I just had laying around. I don't even remember what they go to, and I just kind of cut them up to fit inside that body. But yeah, that's about it, guys. You guys see anything you do different or like it? Give me a thumbs up or let me know some tips and tricks and stuff. But that's pretty much it from top to bottom. And maybe we'll get a running video of it coming up soon. Well, thanks for hanging in there and watching, and we'll have another video coming up shortly. Thank you. Bye.